everyone. And I'm going to hand over now to Sky for the presentation. So please put your hands together and give him a big virtual welcome to the stage.
Awesome. Thank you so much, James. Really excited to be here. Yeah, you know, as James mentioned, we've been presenting at the different summits around the world over the past months here, but I'm really excited to talk to you today about how to grow your app on Snapchat during these really unprecedented times. So when we think about how much the world of app promotion has changed just in the last 6 months, it really is mind-boggling, the acceleration in trends that were pre-existing and the shifts in trends, both on the consumer behavior side as well as on the advertising engagement and success side. So I'm really going to speak today about some first-party research insights to really help you understand the Snapchat generation, the Snapchat audience, and millennials and Gen Zs more widely, and then give you some sort of pro tips and recommendations about how best to use our products to ensure you can hit your app objectives. So really excited to be jumping on with you. Alrighty. So my name is Sky Featherstone. I'm a product marketing manager for our direct response advertising business at Snapchat. And you know, with the insights from today, I'm really hoping that you can develop a marketing strategy, an app promotion strategy that is sustainable, that is future-proof, and that drives immediate success for you with areas of opportunity during this really unique and unprecedented time. And at a high level, I just want to say it is certainly a pleasure to join and speak to these, but also Snapchat and the community more widely certainly has a lot of unique behavior during this time, which means these trends are ever evolving, and definitely check back in with us with things that you see when you're advertising in our platform. Always here to help. All right, so I'm going to kick us off with a bit of a recap for the mobile app industry. And you probably don't need a reminder on lots of these stats, but I think it's good as a level set to really understand where we're coming from and what the benchmarks and the foundation is for app advertising on Snapchat as well. So at a high level, the mobile app industry is certainly growing. You wouldn't be here otherwise, and it's growing in a variety of key ways across key metrics. The first of which is time spent. So, you know, 3.7 hours is the average time a person spends on their mobile phone per day, according to some recent reports. And this meant in 2019, 204 billion app downloads occurred, which is just a staggering number compared to just years ago. And the real unique insight here that I wanted to make sure to flag for you is that the engagement from Gen Z is 60% higher than compared to older audiences, which means the Gen Z and millennial audience is really one that you should be paying some closer attention to and understanding usage behaviors, purchase behaviors, and app download behaviors. And that's really what I'm going to dig in for you today. So when we double down into this wider trend of the mobile app industry growing with projections for it to be 1/3 of total mobile ad spend by 2022, then we look at Q1 and the effects of COVID and other market conditions and current events, we really see that mobile app activity is at an all-time high. And that means that the time spent is up 20% in late March, that Q1 is seeing record-breaking download volume compared to last year, and that users are shifting the way that they're engaging with apps as they double down into experiences deeper in the funnel, such as purchase behavior or view time or dwell time in apps. So not only are there more downloads, but the user consumption and in-app behavior is certainly different. In the US here, for example, we're seeing that 73% of US consumers are using apps to make purchases. So this is not just a nice to have, this is a must have. And many businesses anecdotally are telling us they're exploring new ways to shift from brand and tentpole budgets into direct response advertising as they recognize this is where the world is going, right? Apps provide seamless, convenient experiences for consumers, and this isn't going away anytime soon. And Q1 is really just accelerating those trends. We also know that social apps and communication apps like Snapchat are where consumers spend about half of their time. And this is a really important reminder that, Snapchat too is seeing this tailwind, this really big surge in engagement as people really want to stay close and stay connected. And if we really double tap into that, what is our community doing right now? What are Gen Z and millennial and app users doing in this world? And they're really staying connected. They're using apps to stay connected, to stay entertained, and to stay informed in ways that are not so dissimilar from last year or years previous, but in some ways truly significantly different. And I'll share some of those insights as well. So based on some recent research from February-March period, we do see that Snapchatters are staying connected through Snapchat. They're talking with friends more than ever, which makes sense, right? We're all sort of staying at home and working and studying from home for our audience. So how do we feel connected? We can use visual communication in the form of Snap Sends, and Snap Sent between friends reached all-time highs between late March compared to late February, early March compared to late February. And this also means that real-time communication, so our group video chat features where you can throw on augmented reality lenses and stay entertained while staying connected are more important than ever. And of course, groups are such an important piece of social connection. Whereas you might go to the park to have a picnic with friends as the weather gets nice, now more than ever, folks are hopping on Zoom calls or group Snap video calls to stay connected. So we are seeing recent and all-time highs well beyond some of our major holiday peaks. So the level, the disparity between a standard day this time of year and what we're seeing is extraordinarily elevated. We're really seeing like holiday peaks consistently. And on staying entertained, how are Snapchatters staying entertained? They're utilizing many of our highly immersive experiences, from Snap Games to augmented reality to Snap's great content on Snap Shows to really, entertain themselves. We do know that the industry in general is seeing increased volume of mobile app activity, and that also means more time spent, likely more time at home feeling a little bit bored or lacking some fun things to do outside. And that means that Snap Games has seen the highest figures since launch, and augmented reality is really the playtime and the number of plays, and the Snap Sent with augmented reality are seeing really big jumps as well, by more than 25% late March to compared to late Feb. And then of course, time spent with content, right? We well know of the streaming wars of all of these different challenger brands coming in, whether it be Quibi, Disney Plus, or others. But Snapchat shows are a mobile-first immersive content environment, and we're seeing a lot of consumption there across news, content, health and wellness, gaming. So really exciting to see, and definitely across all of these categories, this just means more engagement, more ways that Snapchatters are trying to express themselves through fun things, play with friends, whether it's on voice or chat, and stay connected in really fun and unique ways while staying entertained. And finally, it's really about information. So the third key shift we're seeing is this really big swell of desire for and consumption of credible fact-based information. And Snapchat's Discover platform, with curated publisher content from some of the world's top news organizations to curated community stories, really means that the content presented on our platform is trustworthy, verified, and fact-based, and Snapchatters are responding in kind with increased consumption there, whether it be really interesting challenges around how to wash your hands, from community stories to COVID-specific content from over 40 of our partners. So we've been just really floored by all these top organizations doubling down on high-quality, fact-based information, whether it's on COVID or current events, to really keep the audience up to date and well-informed. So across those three, this increase in engagement, of course, it makes sense that we are also seeing major uplifts in our daily active users. So we continue our steady growth, 20% year-over-year growth, in fact, Q1 to Q1, hitting 229 million daily active users on average. And those users are spending over 30 minutes per day in the app across all those interesting features I just highlighted. But more so, just want to highlight, this is occurring, this growth is really occurring in many markets around the world. And these users are really doubling down and really responding super well to all the different features we're rolling out, whether it's our new product feature called Here For You, which helps users stay informed and search for things when they're feeling down or concerned about mental health, to new augmented reality technology from machine learning lenses like we rolled out in our recent Snap Partner Summit. And this DAU really means big uplifts in addressable reach. So advertisers in general consistently ask us, okay, is Snapchat just a US platform, or how big is it in my major market? So certainly really happy to report that Snapchat is steadily growing around the world, and we certainly have an extraordinary foothold in the US and Canada. So for North America, we're talking upwards of 100 million users addressable reach in the US, and over 8 million in Canada, with really strong momentum in the Saudi MENA region, as well as Europe, amidst others around the world. So really exciting time from a reach perspective for advertisers on Snapchat with this extraordinary engagement that we're seeing. And you certainly don't need to be reminded that it's not just about reaching a user, it's about reaching a unique user or the right user. So for the US, for example, we certainly see unduplicated and unique audiences compared to many other platforms, which is something I always like to remind folks. So for example, you can't find 91% of our audience on TikTok. So really unique audience differences there. Similarly for Twitter and Hulu. So Snapchat is certainly a place to find the Snapchat generation, the Snapchat audience of highly qualified users, highly engaged users who certainly love apps because they came to our mobile first platform, downloading our app in the first place. And when we start digging into those unique interactions between Snapchatters and app behavior from a recent survey, we do see some really interesting trends here. So at a high level in the industry, we do know that Gen Z is largely responsible for much of the discovery of new apps. So Gen Z, certainly being mobile first generation, they've had a mobile phone in their hand, a smartphone in their hand, nearly since birth in many cases, right? So that means that they're ready to discover, they're talented and able to navigate not only app stores, but understand app ads. And they also like to share those positive app experiences with family and friends. So for example, over 60% of Snapchatters in the US are likely to tell friends or family about an app they enjoy. And this is certainly a byproduct of Snapchat being a communication and connection platform, in addition to having social features. And they're sharing with close friends, with best friends all the time. It's only likely that they would be sharing their favorite apps or their favorite content with friends too. And then the second really interesting insight here is that over 40% of Snapchatters say they typically download 1 to 5 apps per week. Like these numbers are truly impressive. And I can't underscore enough that this is unique to largely Gen Z millennial audiences, where this behavior of downloading apps and of testing apps and of using apps is truly just massive. And that's not going away anytime soon as they expand their purchase behavior, as they increase their wallet size and their purchase influence in the household. So certainly want to double down on that app download behavior. And then finally, an app's only as good as how well it drives purchases or engagement or ad views for your apps and your monetization. So over 50% of Snapchatters say they use apps to make purchases at least once a month. And this is actually these are pre-COVID stats from Q4. My expectation is this would likely have shifted slightly, potentially even gone up in a lot of ways, as more users, more mobile apps are downloaded, and more active users occur in your apps, as you certainly see shifts and likely increases in many categories, such as home improvement, fitness, streaming, and others. So when we think about Snapchat as a platform and Snapchat's unique position with this audience, definitely want to highlight just the dedication as a platform to becoming an app promotion channel now for you, and one that you can invest in the long term in. So we do continue to see this impressive growth since we launched Ads Manager in late 2017 with app install ads, as simple as they were back then. But with the increased product sophistication, new optimizations, targeting, measurement, formats, reporting, all across the ad stack, we've really seen impressive growth year over year in our install volumes and our purchase volume. So in Q1 of this year, we saw 55% higher install volume compared to the Q1 in 2019, and 58% higher purchase volume. So not only are we onboarding advertisers, they're seeing success, and the results really speak for themselves. And Snapchat continues its growth as a major app promotion channel. And I'm certainly dedicated to listening to feedback on how to get to that next level, right? And keep these numbers growing for many years to come. So as we shift gears and we really consider what the shifting mobile app download behavior looks like, and what Snapchatter consumer insights on our platform look like, it's really important to understand, how do you actually adapt to this new normal, and what are the unique Snapchatter behaviors that you can potentially integrate into your marketing campaigns moving forward. So first, for many of you, you're certainly going to fall into some of these buckets, but across the globe, Snapchatters are shifting their habits. They're streaming more, they're gaming more, shopping more, and ordering more. And this is just a cut of some data from the US and Canada. It's certainly indicative of many other countries that I'll briefly show you as well. But as the streaming wars heat up, as I mentioned, and more content than ever is at our disposal, and users work and study from home, it's only a natural byproduct that this would jump up significantly. So 62% of Snapchatters say they're streaming more in the US right now, as mobile games continue their steady climb as the major and dominant force in mobile app promotion as a category. It's impressive that they are reaching new peaks during this really unique time due to COVID and other current events. And based on that purchasing behavior I spoke to previously, it's really a natural byproduct that users would be turning to their apps, which have seamless, convenient experiences to shop more as well. Anything from home improvement, folks are buying barbecues as the weather is improving, to reworking their home space and redecorating. I can certainly attest to that my girlfriend and I are certainly taking time to rethink how we want our space as we work from home to look and feel. So lots more shopping activities going on. A lot of different product categories are starting to pop as users turn to staples instead of luxury items. And there's certainly lots of momentum there that will likely shift the industry for years to come. And then, we have to eat, and many of us are a little bit tired of cooking at home. So Snapchatters certainly report that they're ordering more food during this time period, late March, as COVID was really ramping up across the country and across the world. And you see similar statistics in Canada. And I just did want to highlight some other areas around the world. We did this really as a global study, and we saw time and time again increased consumption on streaming apps, gaming, shopping, ordering food. That's Netherlands, France, Germany, the UK. So these behaviors do seem ubiquitous if a country is experiencing shifts in their regulatory structure or the amount of time they're allowed to spend outside of the home. And certainly the case in countries across MENA, from Saudi Arabia to UAE and Kuwait as well. So this is really a core insight for your category, that the behavior is certainly there. And now it's really up to you to determine how you want to really understand and generate a marketing strategy on the back of these consumer shifts. So if you have a streaming app, is now the time to double down on a mix of organic and paid? Is now the time to really lean into retargeting because you already have a large user base that's been generated during this period? There's many ways you can go at it, and I'm certainly excited to share some of the products that we have that you can utilize to achieve your goals. Another really important thing of note is that not only is consumption in these key categories of streaming, entertainment, gaming, shopping, and food delivery, food ordering, but also new brands are on the table as we're stuck at home and we're looking for things to do. Part of this is really demonstrated through some recent research conducted with BCG that demonstrated Snapchatters and social media consumer sentiments are shifting too. So 13% of young consumers actually made their first ever online purchase in a category during COVID, which is fairly significant given how much time we're already spending on our phones. And 69% of those respondents purchased or used a new brand since COVID started. And that's compared to about 43% for other generations. So it's quite clear, the data really speaks for itself. From the top of this call all the way till now, younger users are highly engaged, highly active, and have purchase behavior that is only going to grow as far as the revenue amounts, the dollar amounts, as well as their influence on the household spending patterns. And so with all those insights in mind, let's take a look at the influence on Snapchat's ads. So I always get asked the question, what's going on in the auction, or what's happening with Snapchat's ads? And we're seldom able to really shed a lot of light on exactly what's occurring. But what I can say is that Snapchat's ads truly are more effective than ever. And that's really clear across several key metrics that I'm really excited to highlight. From late March compared to late February, we saw 19% higher swipe up rate on app ads on Snapchat, which is a massive shift in a short period of time that's largely held steady since then. And we saw, of course, with increased ad engagement, higher install volume for app ads and app advertisers. So 35% higher install volume in that same period. And then to pull this trend all the way down, that has really consistently led to about 25% lower cost per install on Snapchat from when comparing late March versus late February. So all in all, it's very clear to me that the consumer behavior has shifted to a degree where they're engaging with ads differently. They're clearly aligned and looking for apps to download and to engage with and make purchases in. And that has certainly led to really positive experiences for app ads on Snapchat. And as we continue to build our ad business over time, we've really considered direct response advertising as a major component since our inception, right? And since 2017, in particular, when we launched our self-serve Snapchat Ads Manager. And it's really nice for the market and investors to certainly take notice. And that's occurring more recently than ever before, as folks really recognize that direct response ads, which we reported in our last earnings report, comprise about 50% of our overall revenue. Like, we are here to stay as a direct response platform, and we're really doubling down on our formats and experiences, both to make sure they're positive for consumers and for advertisers to drive results here. And so if we really then move this into a conversation about our product and our history and have a little bit of a forward-looking approach, 2017 and 2018, the focus was really around breadth and really around coverage for the foundational elements of building a business that can effectively and sustainably optimize, target, and measure and report on the metrics that matter most to you and your business. And those can mean CPI and CPP and just really reporting on those things. It can also mean massive improvements across our ad stack, from formats to targeting to ubiquity of really high performance for consumers on Android and iOS. And so as you see this trend line from 2011 to 2018, you certainly see that we were rolling out lots of formats lots of new optimizations like GBB app install and others as the foundational building blocks. And that has certainly led to impressive coverage at a very fast rate since that 2017 mark. So now from demographic targeting to other targeting around location features to a scalable ads API with API partners and an open API for advertisers to integrate with, to really unique advanced delivery options around new optimizations, and then more coverage of those optimization types, those goal-based bidding options for all of our different formats. And certainly the really unique option for reach and frequency for some of our brand advertisers, or tentpole moments for your campaigns. And as you see us compared to our competitors, the coverage is really strong at this point. We are a sophisticated ad platform, and we only continue to increase and improve the complexity and the success for our advertisers. And that really, segues nicely into what is the next phase of our business? What is our 2019-2020 focus? What have we been up to? What were we consistently thinking about even before these rapid shifts in early 2020 and the market's noticing all the great work we were doing in DR? And that's really around depth and really understanding your concerns, really understanding your desires for goals around how to really generate positive ROI for your business, and really make it easier for you to buy and succeed on Snapchat. So if we look at just recent updates for the app business, from Q2 2019 to Q1 2020, we see massive growth in how easy it is to create for Snapchat with things like the 3-minute snap ad. So the days of a 10-second maximum video ad on Snapchat are certainly gone, and true flexibility lies there for these extended or longer play views for app launch videos or things like that you want to present for app ads, to new targeting options and certainly new ubiquity of the optimization types for different formats like story ads plus app purchase bidding, and new reporting events such as custom event reporting with our mobile measurement partners. And certainly into Q1, lots of really big jumps, taking the next step, I would say, in our business, moving into multi-country targeting, format enhancements with our app and deep link CTA cards, and mobile app custom audiences, and of course, really unique ways to get ramped up on the platform quickly with things like instant create plus app install bidding. So extraordinarily excited about the work we've done from 2017 to 2019, and extraordinarily excited about the impressive rate of acceleration for our app business since then from a product perspective as well. And if we dig into some pro tips, some recommendations for how to actually grow your app effectively on Snapchat, we could start with awareness at the top of the funnel. We do truly have solutions, and we consider the entire funnel, because we know that you might have awareness budgets, you might have brand budgets, but you want them to be impactful. So our augmented reality lenses with app install and deep link attachments truly are, I would argue, the most immersive app ad format on the market today. When we look at just how unique this experience is with a highly engaged community on Snapchat, from users utilizing lenses, sharing those lenses, and just reminding themselves and saving them down to their memories on Snapchat, it truly is a unique format that puts the user as your brand advocate, and they're utilizing your products and features, like this example with Uber Eats, with the bag with hand tracking technology to demonstrate that you can certainly support local during this challenging and unprecedented time of COVID. So from an optimization perspective, it's really uniquely democratizing AR buying and AR creation in ways that really no other platform is doing right now. We have a biddable AR ad purchase environment, just like you would buy an ads manager for video ads and app install ads in general with Snap Ads, Story Ads, and others. You can do so with our augmented reality formats as well, by optimizing on impressions. And we have some exciting updates on optimizations coming in the near future here. And that means that you can use desired targeting. So from the bidded very targeted approach, potentially on always on augmented reality for awareness, utilizing demographic, device, or multi-country, or maybe even custom audiences with mobile app custom audience creation, such as a purchaser event audience, to a national lens, which is a one-day mass reach sort of takeover for you to reach as many Snapchatters as possible. This is really effective when launching an app globally. So at the top of the funnel, we really do have really impressive formats to drive your goals home, and certainly also just fun to create for. And then when we look at the meat and potatoes here for how to grow your app on Snapchat, we have the bread and butter of Snap ads and story ads. And time again, our advertisers report that our full screen sound on video formats are just such an impressive video standard that are very consumer-friendly experience. So Snapchatters are engaging with these high context app cards, as you can see at the bottom here with the Starling Bank example. There's a clear CTA, there's an app icon, app information that demonstrates very, very simply and clearly exactly what to expect by tapping or swiping on this ad. And these also come with our most advanced optimization goals for you to utilize when purchasing through Ads Manager, and that includes app installs as your sort of best way for efficient growth, especially now, to more down funnel optimizations or app event optimizations. We like to call them high intent installs to generate installs and app purchases, installs and app add to carts, or installs and signups, especially for streaming and other subscription app categories. And various verticals have seen massive success here from very broad targeting strategies while growing their app globally, utilizing things like multi-country and worldwide targeting, which were recently rolled out in Q1, to mobile app custom audience lookalikes that are dynamically updating, set it and forget it, free to use app event categories for you to generate new installs at a really efficient clip. And we certainly are excited to see some of that momentum with client stories. So in this case, Beamit, a payments app, saw 85% lower CPI on Snapchat compared to other platforms. And I would recommend, when thinking about, is Snapchat a good platform for me? Is the Snapchat audience one that I can really monetize and succeed with? Certainly consider that it's unduplicated and has a uniqueness to it, but also that you're just not going to find this level of engagement and this level of full screen sound on impactful format in many other places. And that likely means really efficient CPI and really efficient growth when you're launching and scaling your app. For another objective that advertisers are certainly doubling down on right now, recent re-engagement reports, retargeting reports across the industry are demonstrating that re-engagement is only becoming more important, largely because advertisers who utilize an acquisition campaign and a retargeting campaign generally see an overall revenue uplift. So it's got to be part of an overall app promotion strategy if you want to increase the profitability metrics such as return on ad spend, increase the retention rates as users do download more apps. That means you're more at risk for churn. So that's where re-engagement and our unique tactics really come into play. So our Snap ads and collection ads are the two formats I'd really strongly recommend here, both coming with deep link attachments. And so the objective in Ads Manager is called drive traffic to app, which makes a lot of sense. And the optimization goals are some really exciting updates. Actually, we have mobile app re-engagement optimizations rolling out really soon, currently in beta for app open and app purchase. So you can drive directly towards app opens or drive directly towards app purchases and continue to optimize towards that with Snap ads to great effect. And when utilized with your audience segmentation strategies, whether that's through Snapchat self-service, mobile app custom audience creation, or with our MMP partners who have integrated with our audience API and their own audience products, really do have a 360 view of our re-engagement solution. And it's very exciting to see momentum there as well. And of course, some great creative here in the shopping space from Depop and Adidas. And then when we think about re-engagement, it's largely about LTV. How do you drive up LTV? And is Snapchat a good place for LTV? And I certainly was excited about this success story from Playtika, where they saw 15% higher first-time depositor rate and 12% higher LTV. And what this tells me is that Snapchat has extraordinarily engaged and high-quality users. So when we compare ourselves to other platforms, something I consistently look at is not just engagement rates at the top level, but what are the down funnel impacts here? And Playtika has certainly chosen to double down and invest on Snap because of the LTV that our users are certainly driving for them. In this case, by utilizing story ads and Snap ads. And as we sort of wrap up this conversation around product, I do have some recommendations for creative strategy, which is certainly a big part of a creative platform like Snapchat. And I do certainly want to underscore this shift in consumer behavior is because these are unique times. So we should be shifting our mindset in the ad creation or just our approach to advertising in general. So moving from product benefit to consumer benefit, putting the user first, putting their needs first, and putting their unique circumstances first. Really put yourself in the shoes of your potential buyers. And if you're working and studying from home and you're tired of not being able to get a haircut, then maybe you talk about that. Maybe you think about new and creative ways to really highlight how you can make it easier. Your products can make it even more seamless for Snapchatters to have an easier experience right now more than ever. And secondly, this really ties into moving away from hard selling into really offering utility. So if you have the best app for at-home fitness, then really highlight that it's the best app for XYZ reasons, or demonstrate some unique values such as discounts or unique access to new content. And that definitely ties into not just utilizing or leaning on calls to action such as buy this, but instead really considering the full picture. We do know that Snapchatters are some of the most engaged, thoughtful, and diverse users of any mobile app in the world. That means they really care about brand equity. So if you're running unique ad campaigns with nonprofits, highlight that. If you have a unique brand campaign that's going on that you think is really about helping local businesses that have been negatively influenced right now, why not? So those are really interesting and powerful opportunities to generate, especially now during the summer months before it gets extraordinarily competitive. Usually in the holiday season in Q4, this would be the time to really double down and consider how Snapchatters want to hear from you and what your brand really stands for. And then generally speaking, now is a time of very unique details. Someone in New York might be experiencing something very different than someone in LA. So having empathetic messaging and putting the user first, like I was speaking out about just a moment ago, is extremely important, especially when developing creative or when mapping out your wider marketing campaigns. And so with some very tactical suggestions here to wrap us up, how do you interact with Snapchatters throughout their day as they establish their new normal? So we talked about their consumption of streaming and entertainment and so on, but also just the physical place. They're largely at home. They're doing their part, they're social distancing, and they certainly care about doing the right thing. They're very thoughtful in that way. Help them with DIY content as they want to stay entertained. Things like craft projects or unique elements that might be in your app, maybe new engaging features that you haven't really utilized in your advertising before. How do you inspire them in the daily routine, such as fitness or when they're cooking or education? So, here's a great example of the variety of content, the personalization of content from Daily Burn as a great way to demonstrate how their app is really a perfect fit for users who are trying to stay fit at home. And then, of course, parents are teachers now, so really being empathetic to that experience of moms and dads everywhere trying to do their best in busy environments with their kids. Augmented reality and co-viewing experience is certainly a really fun way to do that, but how does your app or how does your product really benefit them or make their lives easier during this time? And then, of course, leaning into the brand value and the shifting consumer needs, as mentioned before. And I think Bumble did a really nice job here. Maybe a little hard to read, but you can see that they're really being empathetic and very organic in their approach. They're saying, we know what you're going through right now. We have new features because we see that dating is shifting during this unique time. Dating is shifting from in-person interactions to video or chat. So they're really highlighting that unique feature to make sure that Snapchatters and potential users are very aware of it during this unique time. So I think with that, we might just have time for a couple quick questions. And I guess I'll throw it back to James if he has any for me, and then we can take a look if you all submitted any as well.
Thanks, guys. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, please leave them in the Q&A box, and I'm going to kick off. So yeah, it's really interesting to hear the evolution of the platform, and yeah, we've been having kind of workshops and talks with Snap in London, Berlin, and New York when you first started building out this platform, and it's amazing to see the evolution of all the different this sort of stack you've built now. One question is, if someone's wanting to get started with Snap as a channel, what's the best way of doing that? Should they just sign up on the portal and launch a campaign? What's a good way to get going?
It's a great question, and we certainly have not only advanced our solutions, but also advanced how easy it is to onboard on Snap as well. So I would really recommend digging into forbusiness.snapchat.com as a starting point. We recently launched a lot of new content there, and we actually just launched something called Snap Focus, which is a training module with quick but really impactful playbooks and chapters for how to win on Ads Manager. So, we definitely are a self-serve platform. That's the best way to really exercise interest and really get kind of trained up, I guess, if there's any questions there. The other really interesting product update that I would highlight is that Instant Create is a very simple way to jump on the platform quickly and seamlessly. It's auto-generated ads with minutes and a few clicks. You can be running on Snapchat. We also reduced the minimum requirement for an ad campaign, so it's not expensive to get going. A few bucks and a few clicks and maybe a few views of the Snap Focus chapters, and you'll be in pretty good shape. But yeah, certainly open to feedback and always excited to hear. And that would be through forbusiness.snapchat.com.
Got it. And one question we do have from the floor is any chance of a Facebook-style ad library to look at competitor ads?
Yeah, I mean, we do have really interesting inspiration section. So we share interesting success stories and case studies there. For now, that's going to be the best place to check out. And of course, on the For Business site as well, we have all of our different ad formats. And I kind of breezed over them in this short forum, but you can dig into, okay, so what is this single Snap ad? Can I do static and video? Answer, yes. What is a story ad? How is that different than Instagram stories? Things like that are all covered in the different sections of that site. So I'd highly recommend, even now, popping over and taking a look and checking out Snap Focus in particular.
Got it. And my second follow-up was going to be all the sophistication now in the platform, and some of it you have on other platforms, some of it's quite unique. How do people then go from launching a campaign to really going up the ladder and becoming really proficient? What's the best way of doing that?
Yeah, so when we talk about scaling, I think it really depends on the advertiser goal. So I covered a few in the second half of the presentation there. I'd say if you're trying to drive awareness, again, you can buy that through Ads Manager with our AR or video or commercials. If you're trying to grow your app, I would really lean into finding success, having a testing approach with our creative testing tool, which is right there in Ads Manager. And expanding your audience targeting, trying out a few different optimizations in a strategic and very thoughtful way with a learning agenda. So whenever I'm, in larger client meetings, I'll always recommend a formalized and mapped out at least 1 or 2 quarter learning agenda with targeting, optimizations, and formats as some of the key pillars that I certainly focus on. And then that creative testing, which is essentially a checkbox which you can utilize in Ads Manager to test different ad sets or different creatives against each other, is the best way to bring that to life.
Great. And Nikki is asking, oh yeah, so what about Snap Pros? I think maybe she means, or agencies, people can work with, for those of us with 0 time to manage another platform. So yeah, if you're app marketer and you want to add this, yeah, any way of sort of helping to do that?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of partners, a lot of approved partners, certainly. Recently launched with Smartly, for example, on more of the commerce side, but
Right.
definitely check out our partner page, and maybe there's some that'll be interesting to you. I would also certainly say that, you know, if you see value in Snapchat, you should probably look into trying that out yourself. Again, it's easier than ever, and it doesn't take a lot to get started. We're talking literally about a static image or a video that you probably already have from somewhere else, and you're throwing some money against it. You're utilizing an app. Let's say you want to grow your app. You're using app install goal-based bidding with a fairly large audience, a broad audience, as the real bare bones 101 for getting started. And that can actually happen in minutes after you set up an account. There's also a really helpful chat feature and help feature in Ads Manager. So let's say you have an intern or you're looking for more materials, you can certainly always ask for help right there in Ads Manager. But it all starts with just signing up for an account, getting some ads in the system, and then going from there.
Got it. And in terms of how successful clients might be using Snap as a platform, um, and then weighing that up against some maybe competitors, are they using it for additional reach, or is it for unique reach, or is it for a very specific campaign that fits the platform and this type of creative?
Great question.
How, or trying to get people in country where you're really strong. How are people mixing it in? And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all of the above is a broad answer, but let's dig into a few of those different pieces as they're fairly unique in nature. So I would say it is dependent on your app category, but the thing that we see across the board is certainly the unique addressable reach, and is certainly the impact of our format. So if you're doing nothing else, then start with Snap Ads, single video or image, and certainly test out markets that you are generally strong in already and want to drive incremental reach in. You're likely going to see really strong success. You can even compare, how unique that reach is compared to other platforms, and you'll just kind of see for yourself. The proof is going to be in the pudding. Additionally, I would say when you talk about our top advertisers and their strategies, let's take gaming, for example. So if we see gaming as really ramping up and the download behavior and the daily active usership really going up in the March, April time period globally, gaming advertisers come to us with a few key goals. One is to capitalize on this momentum that's already occurring organically through maybe retargeting ads, through deep links, or they want to expand into countries that are monetizing really well right now. And for something like that, I would really strongly recommend multi-country or worldwide targeting. And that's unique to the gaming audience, who doesn't have issues necessarily with translations or with product SKUs not being available in certain geos. If you're much more of a localized business, then you can definitely get down to point radius targeting all the way to expanded regional, state, or country targeting, and you can certainly test different countries against each other. So at a high level, I think it's unique to the app category, but expanding targeting, testing targeting is certainly core to this. And the last thing I'll say is, when you talk about the top advertisers, top 20 spending apps in the world, top 20 free download apps in the world, top 20 paid app downloads in the world, many of whom are testing and seeing success on Snapchat, we generally see a strong dedication to making it work through multiple products and through the full funnel. So intuitively, if you just think about advertising to a user on a platform, let's say about the full user journey, from pre-register before your app launches to global launch to sustaining and profitability, all the way into retention, retargeting. So if we think of those 4 buckets along a continuum, then you're going to likely utilize multiple products and re-engagement and retargeting along the way to generate something that's a positive flywheel, a positive feedback loop, to ensure that you're not wasting impressions, and to ensure that you're reaching different inventory sources even within Snapchat itself. Because some users are playing with lenses, some users are watching content, some users are just chatting with friends. So the real pro tip here is if the very first snap ad targeted to a very particular audience isn't working, there's always more inventory sources to test out. And when paired together, our products are certainly better and more effective. So certainly remember that one.
Great. Well, it's been great following, getting an update on this and where the platform is, and really enjoyed having Snap involved in our events in London, Berlin, New York, and now virtually to the USA. So just want to say a big thank you to Sky for coming on, and yeah, thanks a lot.
It's definitely been my pleasure. Stay safe, everyone, and enjoy your week.